Yes, good morning, everybody. So this is a Vedanta Series question and answer, and there are already two questions lined up that I'll deal with to start with. But I'll wait a little bit for you to also formulate some questions of your own. And before we start, we'll do the prayer for teacher and student. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditam Astu Ma Vidvishavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So as usual, I'll mute my microphone so that you can formulate any questions you like.
My question is this one is very easy, maybe, but it's a matter I don't understand. Why do we say there is auspicious days like Tuesday and Saturday? Because you always say, you are always saying every moment is auspicious. So why do Ramakrishna say come on Saturday or it's an auspicious day? Why? It's my question. Maybe it's easy for you, but it's something I'd like to understand, please.
Okay. So in answer to this question, auspicious days. The central purpose of our life is to realize the divinity of our own self. Our goal is freedom. But as long as we feel embodied, as long as we don't understand this, we will need as many tools as we can get our hands on. And so scripture is a tool. A guru is a tool, as it were, a resource. We can say resource. The use of japa, prayer, holy company, singing divine praises, music, all of these are various helps and more in spiritual life, pilgrimages. And so also nature has certain rhythms as well. And in your own life, you have certain rhythms as well. These are biorhythms, they're called. But you'll see that the earth has its own seasons and its own rhythms. For example, this has to coordinate with the mental frame in which we find ourselves. People living in extreme conditions, let us say in the Arctic regions, will experience long periods of day and long periods of night. And the night will last, there'll be no distinguishing factor between light and day. And so it's a well-known fact that these people will go into some kind of depression. And we know, of course, in the Northern Hemisphere, winter depression in Europe and so on is a very common phenomenon. And summer becomes a very happy, joyful period of time for us. So just broadly speaking, we know that there are certain seasons, certain rhythms of nature that affect our moods. Always to keep the mind elevated in divine mood is an important thing. And so certain auspicious times, there's no doubt, of the month, certain auspicious times of the day, certain auspicious times of the year will be selected. What makes them auspicious? What makes them auspicious is that there are configurations according to people who believe in astronomical influences. What we call astrology will understand that certain flares in the sun will affect physical conditions and mental conditions, certain phases of the moon. When we say the moon in French, we are talking of, la lune. And there's no accident that we connect it with lunacy. And the moon is connected with mind, of course. So certain phases of the moon would affect people on a 28-day cycle according to its waxing and waning. And the significance of that and the study of that and relating that to how we feel is important. According to astrology, you'll find that certain configurations are more conducive to concentration than others. And also not just times of the day, not just these auspicious moments, but also auspicious places. So that is why we go on pilgrimages. So we just take advantage of all of that. Now, every moment is infused with divinity. This is true. But do we know it, and do we understand it, and do we register it? If we do that, then naturally our thought will override any of these influences. And so when it's recommended, select an auspicious day. It's catering for two things. It's catering for the person's belief in this auspiciousness. And it's also seeing, can we have a kind of competitive edge in our spiritual life, as it were, to make things better, make things more conducive, make things easier for us. So both things are recommended. But it depends on people, you see. I personally don't select any auspicious moments for particular events, except, of course, if there are some celebrations throughout the year. You know, for example, full moon is always auspicious because the extra light is there, the extra influence is there. But if you have a mindset that says that thought overrides everything, and that a thought movement will make every second auspicious, then so be it, of course. But you have to get into that mindset, of course. You have to understand that fully. We should take as many different tools and advantages as we possibly can and use them to our benefit. We have to also understand every second is the last second, every moment is the last moment. And when we fill each moment with the thought of the divine, then maybe we won't even think of what is auspicious and what is not. Because sometimes laboring too much on this falls into the category of superstition also. And that is something we have to avoid. Sometimes it's better to be ignorant of all of these things. Except this, if you become sensitive enough, you will understand, you will respond to moments of the day which are auspicious. In the day, 4 times of the day, junction of night and day, are seen to be auspicious for spiritual practice. But there's a practical reason for that. It is the time when there's a certain silence, a certain quietude. And we also have to understand that every person and place and event is an expression of divine energy. And like oceans, in oceans you get waves that can overturn huge boats, and you get mild waves as well. And you want to avoid the big waves, and you want to take advantage of the others. On the other hand, if you have an adventurous attitude, you'll be a surfer and welcome the big waves. And the bigger the waves, the better. So it's a question of strategically and skillfully identifying what advantages we can take in life. What is the competitive gap we can use in order to enhance our spiritual life? When we enhance our spiritual life, we are also enhancing all the rest as well. There's every day of the week has been noted as having a prime minister in operation, a stellar prime minister. So Monday is the moon's day. The moon acts as the prime minister and resides. On Tuesday, Mars presides. On Wednesday, Mercury presides. On Thursday, Jupiter presides. On Friday, Venus presides. And on Saturday is the day of Saturn. Saturn presides. In the early morning, if you greet your Prime Minister as it rises and take advantage of the good fortune that will take place by making friends with your astronomical Prime Minister, then no doubt your day will go well. It's a question of seeing this divinity in everything, seeing this Supreme Self, as it were, in all beings and all beings in the Self, as it were, because we can substitute that and say God, or our most beloved as well.